𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃 back with another video. I hope that you guys all enjoyed today's video. Today's video is a new what if. No, I am not forgetting about the other what ifs that I have recently started up. Those will all soon become movies or get more parts. The point is I will make sure to finish them for obvious reasons. Sorry if I sound kind of out of breath. I recently had a little bit of an asthma attack, so I had to take my puffer. So if at any point you hear like my breath undertone, I apologize, and I hope that it doesn't distract you from overall the experience of listening to the video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as per usual, and we can now begin the video. What if Sakura was an Uzumaki? Part 0. So in this part 0, we're just going to be doing the backstory of the what if. So in part 1, we can truly begin and just get everything out of the way in this part so that part 1 can be even better and without all of the backstory just cluttering it. Now, what is the backstory? So obviously this is a what if that focuses on Sakura and how she would affect the story if she is an Uzumaki. Hence, what if Sakura was an Uzumaki? Now, we know in the Naruto timeline that Sakura has 2 loving parents. And, well, she doesn't in this timeline due to the fact that, well, the Uzumaki are all but dead. Now, how is Sakura an Uzumaki? Well, Sakura Haruno is no longer a Haruno, but instead an Uzumaki with the name Haruno. Similar to the way that Naruto is an Uzumaki, yet his father's last name was Namikaze. In this timeline, it's kind of just swapped. Her name is still Sakura Haruno, but her real last name is Uzumaki. Now, although that does vary from the Naruto that we know, as, well, you could consider Namikaze and Uzumaki to both be his real last name. For Sakura, her real last name is Uzumaki, and it's just Haruno because her parents thought it best to basically cover up the fact that she was an Uzumaki, since they were feared and it could put them in danger if anyone knew that she was an Uzumaki. Now, as far as her physical appearance goes, I see no reason why I have to change her hair color. Due to the fact that in this timeline she is not a full Uzumaki, but instead a rare half-breeded Uzumaki, I think that pink hair suits her just fine, and that you could even call it a genetic mutation throughout and going down the line of the Harunos. Correction, Sakura is a full Uzumaki in this timeline, and her last name is still Haruno because, like I mentioned earlier, her parents just wanted to give her the last name Haruno to protect her from danger, as she is an Uzumaki. She was an orphan, just like Naruto. She would grow up in a similar way to Naruto, although she wouldn't have to deal with any of the hate from the village. Many people even pitied her. They believed that she was wronged, as she was left an orphan, such a kind little girl left to fend for herself. But whilst being alone, she realized that the only person that she had was herself, and possibly even people like herself. She met a boy named Naruto until eventually her and Naruto formed a friendship and Naruto left the orphanage. This was because he actually got his own apartment under, of course, the watching eye of Hiruzen Sarutobi. But Sakura, of course, didn't know this, and so she was left alone again to fend for herself in the orphanage. And, well, slowly but surely she clung on to the idea of strength, of power, of her own self-worth and chakra. Now, you see, the real reason I decided to do this what if was due to the fact that Sakura, in a lot of cases, suffers from Kishimoto's ability to only write one kind of strong female character, which isn't anything to him. I think he's a wonderful, obviously, mangaka, one of my favorites, right beside Oda and guys like that. But the problem with how he wrote Sakura was that even in part 2 of Shippuden, when she got stronger, it was because she wanted to catch up to Naruto and Sasuke, and not because of her own want, her own need to do so. And what I mean by that is her own need to get stronger, not for others, but for herself. And if it was going to be for others, then it shouldn't be for the 2 male protagonists of the series, but rather it should be for everyone. Heck, she could have the ideals of wanting to get stronger so that she could help Konoha in a future war effort. She could have the ideals of wanting to be stronger so that she can heal members of Konoha and just help her village. Or option 3, which is what she's going to be doing in this timeline, which is to get stronger for herself. Now, I'm well aware that many of you guys might not like this what if because it's Sakura. Sakura generally isn't a great character to talk about in what ifs just because of how she's looked at in the actual Naruto series. I don't think that she's a 10 out of 10 character. I don't think that a lot of characters are a 10 out of 10 character. But we're going to try to change Sakura and try to make her into a good / better character in this timeline. With that being said, we can now continue the backstory. And so obviously, Sakura, thirsting for power, would want to get stronger, and so she would. She would learn as much as she could in the local libraries of the Hidden Leaf Village, once created by 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃𝙃, and she would study as much as she could about the ninja world and, well, chakra as a whole. And so eventually, she would learn chakra control on her own and by herself. You could call this feat that of a young child prodigy, but Sakura Uzumaki wasn't done there. Not only did she learn chakra control, but she learned how to amp her power, her physical strength, that is, with her own chakra. Similarly to how she does after training with Tsunade. But if Tsunade is like the pinnacle of using chakra control to amp your physical power, then Sakura is still but a mere fish in a gigantic ocean. Now, with that being said, this does very much so increase her physical power, and as a young child, only being 6 years old at this time, she definitely has a very bright future ahead of her. With that, she wanted more and more power. She, like I said, yearned to be stronger, because she knew that in a world of winners and losers, in a world where power was the main decider in a lot of things, that her being a strong kunoichi would not only help her village, not only help her, but it would make her be able to accomplish so much more. And so she continued to learn and try until one day something happened. What is this thing? Well, she passed out. And when she awakened, there was a beast, a monster, if you will, inside of her. Similarly to how Naruto can enter his subconscious, that's where Sakura was now, and she could quite literally see a monstrous entity in her own subconscious, chained and confined with a seal. Sakura said nothing, but would slowly ask what the creature was. My name is Hana. I am, well, your people would call me a beast. They would probably label me as a tailed beast, but we are nothing alike. The first Hokage, 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃𝙃, created me. By the offset of his wood style, I was imprisoned and never let out. Eventually, I grew power and stronger, and over time, similarly to tailed beast when you kill them, my chakra formed in another place, because 𝙎𝙈𝙊 sealed me away. Your parents then later sealed me in your body, which is why I'm here now. This seal does not allow me to leave, but I can use my chakra through you. I no longer wish for a life of anger and vengeance. My days of fighting humankind are over, long behind me, but I can help you. If at any time you are in danger, you can call on me. Call on Hana, and I promise I'll be there for you, no matter the circumstance. That boy, the one that you befriended, Naruto Uzumaki, I believe. You and him share a similar heritage. Oh, and one more thing you should know. He is the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. So not only should you treat him with respect, but understand that the people of this village resent him. They hate him. And they treat him with such ire that you would think that he was scum. All things considered, he is just a boy. So treat him like a human. And never forget that you are too an orphan. Remember that you came from nothing. Use that to your advantage. Use your anger, your pent-up rage for yourself. Also, if you can hear stuff in the background, that's just my family talking. A family member of mine just got back from work and is talking with my sister, older sister. Hope that's not TMI, me going kind of into my own life, but it shouldn't be. With that being said, this was part 0, and that's just about it for the backstory. That's how Sakura gets her strength. She learns it on her own. She has the chakra to do so as she's an Uzumaki, and she has the wits as her parents are much smarter and kind of passed on that gene to Sakura, who in her own right, even in, well, the original timeline, is pretty smart for a 𝘾𝙍/𝙬𝙃. Not to say that 𝘾𝙍 are usually dumb, but it's just me saying ninja, but like a female ninja. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. This might not be a well-adored series, but it's a series I want to do. What if Sakura was an Uzumaki? Part 0. And with that being said, Rami X out. Rami X back in another video. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button as per usual. This is What If Sakura Was an Uzumaki Part 1. Part 0 was released about a couple days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 2 or 3 now. Which was just really the backstory of the What If, how Sakura is an Uzumaki, blah, blah, blah. We can now jump right into the What If. What If Sakura Was an Uzumaki Part 1. So, we didn't really leave off with a specific event occurring. So we're actually going to start off with Sakura in the library. We know from the last part that Sakura does go to the library often just to learn and actually to increase her own power through, say, learning things about chakra and chakra natures and jutsu, etc., etc. Here today, though, she's learning about ninja history, specifically the history of her own village, the Leaf Village. If she is to one day become a powerful 𝘾𝙍/𝙬𝙃, she wants to be able to represent her village, and she wants to be adept in the knowledge about her village as well. With that being said, what would she learn? Well, she wanted to learn about the great clans. She knew many children about her age who were from multiple renowned clans in the Leaf, whether it be the Yamanaka with Ino or the Uchiha with Sasuke. Heck, even the Aburame or Akamichi clans and their odd abilities, yet amazing fame around the world for their diverse abilities and strength. So she opened a book in the library. The book was dated, clearly. The pages were some far in between that were actually of quality, and, well, the book was kinda, to use a word lack thereof, musty. Sakura opened the pages, and she sifted through them, learning as much information as she could on all of the clans. But after reading on the Uchiha clan and their amazing abilities in her own words, obviously she didn't say this out loud, but it's definitely what she thought, she started scrolling through the pages to try and find her own clan, because she knew that the Uzumakis had to be a clan of relevance in the Hidden Leaf Village. Because although Sakura had learned how to control her chakra and had even been able to do what she did in Shippuden with, well, being able to use it and being able to power her own physical techniques and attacks and abilities, she knew that 6-year-olds don't really get to do that. And, well, that her clan, the Uzumaki, had to have given her this larger chakra pool. But she also knew that, of course, from the beast that lived inside of her, Hana. With that being said, Sakura continued to look through the book, and eventually she found a part on the Uzumakis. It read many things, but the things that were of relevance were that they were destroyed. that they were feared by the other nations and teamed up on by the other nations. Sakura didn't know how to feel about it. Her clan was, well, quite literally massacred. This would be the equivalent of a 6-year-old Sasuke finding out, well, obviously growing up with a family to begin with, without a family to begin with, my apologies, but then figuring out that his clan was massacred by every other great nation besides the Hidden Leaf Village. So this creates a sort of, I guess you could call it, a sort of inner love for the Hidden Leaf Village, that they didn't participate in the bloodbath that was the Uzumaki massacre. That instead they even tried to offer their support, but they got there too late. This, although made Sakura obviously sad, it gave her hope that in the future she could possibly repopulate the clan. Because she knew that although there was an Uzumaki massacre, and although all Uzumaki died, she knew that wasn't the case. It quite literally couldn't be, because of a young boy in the Hidden Leaf Village named Naruto Uzumaki, who was quite literally the same age as her. She knew that Naruto survived, as they had literally talked before, and they were, well, they kind of met at the orphanage. And so, that meant that not all Uzumaki were gone. And whether it be Naruto or another Uzumaki who she had yet to meet, that meant that hope for the clan was not all but lost, and that the lineage of the Uzumakis could be restored one day. But obviously, that was something that she couldn't go and do now, as she was far, far, far too young. But she could at least accumulate power strong enough to be able to at least breach the surface of what some of her former clansmen may have been able to achieve. To be feared by 4 great nations in the world of Naruto, they had to have immense strength. That's all Sakura could think of. We now have a time skip of 2 years, making Sakura officially 8 years old. She has grown tremendously and has even managed to unlock a chakra nature. We know that Naruto unlocked a chakra nature in less than, 6 months, but we also know that that was because of his shadow clone technique. So Sakura doesn't have that. It's going to take her 2 years, and I think that's actually quite reasonable to learn a chakra nature. Now, with that being said, in the academy, Sakura would truly shine. Her chakra control abilities made it so that she was the epicenter of attention, as everything that they had to do as far as chakra natures went, she could do with ease. She mastered the clone jutsu in just a few seconds, and she breezed through nearly everything. Not only was she physically strong, not only was she versed in chakra control and, the ways of a ninja, never mind the ninja history books, but she also possessed a mental toughness and a competitive drive, something that the original Sakura doesn't necessarily have. Sakura in this timeline got this from her father, Kyoto Uzumaki, a powerful Uzumaki who once had a brawl with Kushina to decide who was going to eat their food first, growing up in, very close proximity to each other. With that being said, Sakura would actually pass the academy earlier than Sasuke and Naruto, passing the academy at the age of 11 instead of the age of 12. Now, that's 1 year, and in the ways that I've spoken of Sakura, you'd think that she'd pass the academy faster, like an Itachi or a Minato, or even a Kakashi. But that's just not the case here, and she's going to pass the academy a year earlier, which is still a big and large improvement than, the original timeline. Now, with that being said, what does she do with her whole 1 year? She finds a sensei / a jonin that she believes she could model her own techniques after. We know that Sakura in the original timeline had an affinity for genjutsu, so she would go to Kurenai. Now, it might be hard to believe that she still has this affinity due to the fact that she's from the Uzumaki clan, but this is something that she's just gonna have for the sake of the what if. So she is going to still have that affinity, and she would go actually to Kurenai to train her. Kurenai, seeing that a young genin recognized her own wits in genjutsu as a genjutsu specialist, felt not only proud of herself and her own accomplishments and the fact that young children like Sakura knew who she was, but also honored that a young genin would come to her for advice, for training, for whatever it may be. And so she would actually offer it. She would tell Sakura what days that she was free, and Sakura would understand, coming to her selectively only on those days. As for Sakura, she was, well-versed in genjutsu, which meant that a lot of things came easy to her. Kurenai saw this and would quickly train her in most things genjutsu. This means that by the end of the year, Sakura was actually not a bad genjutsu user whatsoever. Now, you could even call her a okay genjutsu user at the start of part 1, but in this timeline, she's definitely a good genjutsu user, being taught by a genjutsu specialist like Kurenai and having the chakra to learn as many genjutsu as she really wanted to due to the fact that she's an Uzumaki. This also meant that her training with Kurenai in genjutsu could last way longer, of course, due to her immense chakra reserves. But eventually, Kurenai took Sakura to a training ground in the Leaf Village. She would tell Sakura that there are many times when genjutsu cannot be performed. When that happens, you must rely on taijutsu and your skill with, kenjutsu objects like shuriken, kunai, or even blades. So, Kurenai would ask Sakura what she wanted, and Sakura would tell Kurenai that not only did she want to know how to use shuriken and kunai and paper bombs and, smoke bombs and stuff like that for obviously escape and, attack or even counterattacks, whatever it may be, but she also wanted to be able to wield a short sword. And Kurenai laughed. It's funny, actually. You came to me, a genjutsu specialist, and here we are learning kenjutsu. Unfortunately, I'm not great at learning how to use blades, but there is a specific jonin in the village currently who's quite good at it, might I add. What's his name? His name is the copy ninja, Hatake Kakashi, or Kakashi Hatake. You should visit him. I believe that he would know exactly how to train you in the ways of using a short blade. You see, when Kakashi was younger, he used to use a short blade himself. And even on his time in the Anbu. What? He was an Anbu? Not just any Anbu. He was an Anbu captain. How do you know? What do you mean, how do I know? I'm a Jonin. We're friends. Yeah, but how do you know that he was an Anbu captain? Anbu captains are supposed to keep their identity completely hidden. Oh my god. Ugh. Obviously, they're supposed to keep their identities completely hidden. But Asuma and Kakashi go way back. They're actually rivals. Asuma's a great friend of mine, obviously. And we were talking about Kakashi one time, and he mentioned it. It's normal for people, even with iron wills of the Anbu, to spill random things about themselves. Kakashi is no longer a part of that life, but I'm sure if he was in the Anbu at the time, he would never say anything about being an Anbu captain. Anyways, go to him. Where can I find him, then? You can find him on the outskirts of the village in a... Oh, wait. What time is it? Kurenai would dig in her pocket for a watch that she carried, and she would realize that it was around the time that Kakashi tended to visit Obito's grave. And so she would tell Sakura that she could actually find him at the, Konoha graveyard. The one where they buried the ninja from the last Great Ninja War. Sakura nodded, knowing exactly where this was, as she often passed it to get to the library, which she frequently studied at, and so she went, taking a blade that Kurenai had actually purchased for her, as well as kunai, shuriken, and paper bombs. She took them all to the graveyard and dropped them, as well as her sword, implanting it into the ground behind Kakashi. Do you know someone here? Is that why you've brought all these things to honor them? No, but do you? Looking right at him. Obito Uchiha, Rin Nohara, Minato Namikaze. My sensei, and my fellow Genin. Well, at the time I was a Jonin, but my fellow comrades. I'm sorry to hear of your loss. How are you yet so strong, and you've gone through so much loss? Half the people you've known through your ninja life seem to have died. You're completely correct. It's hard, for sure. But over time, you get used to it. The people that you know and loved, well, they just aren't coming back. Kakashi would look back at Sakura, realizing something. He could feel her immense chakra, but not only that, but she could feel a second chakra within her. This was what, for lack of a better word, we'll call the beast within her, which also, for a new name, will be known as the Zero Tails. Yes, there is a Zero Tails, which is in the Naruto movie timeline, but these two things are not at all the same. Although they act in a similar nature, the Zero Tails had only negative intentions for the most part, while this beast is actually perfectly fine with allowing Sakura to use her chakra, as it is a girl, and also is perfectly fine with Sakura, well, existing. She doesn't want to escape from Sakura's body, and honestly, she's had enough of humans just constantly fighting and trying to trap her and attacking her, and well, you get the point. After a while, you kind of get lazy and sometimes bored or maybe even annoyed enough to allow a young Kunoichi like Sakura to call on your power whenever she wants. Kakashi then looked back at, well, the grave. This is going to be a weird question, but how did they die? You want the real answer or the made-up one that I'd tell someone your age? Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. I'm 11 years old, but I am a genin. So, just treat me with some respect. Not all the respect in the world, as obviously you don't have to, but at least acknowledge that I am a genin, and I can handle stuff like that. I'm curious. I really am. She was really only curious because one of the names he mentioned was, well, quite literally the fourth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. Kakashi would turn around, sitting crisscross applesauce on the ground, and looking up at Sakura, who would also then sit down as a form of respect. Glad to see we're on the same page. Well, how long do you have? As much time as you need to tell the story of their passing. Why are you so interested? Not that it's weird, but most ninja... Okay, it's weird. Why are you interested? I'm borderline just curious. Side note, if you heard a sound, all things considered a weird sound, it was actually a door opening in my house. Sorry if it was quite loud. I tried to edit it out. If it wasn't edited out, then my apologies, but continue on with the story. Kakashi would then begin to go into detail of the Third Great Ninja War, but after a little while of talking about it, Sakura would tell him that she knows just about everything about the Third Great Ninja World, and, well, the war, too. She knows how politics were back then in the Third Great Ninja War and, well, the world of the Third Great Ninja War. But she... Oh, also, tongue twister for you guys. If you ever try to say war and world, it is so hard to do in, like, the same sentence. So, like, yeah, just trust the struggle if you heard my tongue kind of twist there. Anyways, Kakashi would then understand that Sakura was not just any genin, but that she was actually quite smart, and that she knew about the history of her world, the world that she knew nothing about coming into it, the world of the past, the first, second, and third Great Ninja Wars, and what the world likewise was at the time like. And so he then went into detail about his genin, at the time, genin partners. I was young. When I was a genin, I was less than 7 years old. I had 2 comrades specifically, squad mates actually. Rin Nohara, a medic, and Obito Uchiha. You know of the Uchiha clan, do you? Of course I do. They're still prominent in the village today. Yeah. Problem was, he didn't awaken his Sharingan, so we would butt heads all the time. I see. Yeah. Anyway, point is, some time would pass and, let's just say we would eventually get our first real mission. I was a Jonin at the time. And, Minato Namikaze was not yet Hokage. He was just our Jonin captain, Minato. He left with us one of his legendary flying Raijin kunai and told us to, basically call on him if we needed something or if we were in danger. So we knew, and we went in. It was a war effort. That was the mission. We were supposed to destroy a bridge. A bridge that would allow us to, the point is, it was important, okay? Whilst on the mission, things took a turn for the worst. Rin was captured by enemy ninja from the stone, and, I believed that the mission was the first priority. That a medic like Rin would be prioritized, and, so I believed that she wouldn't be at harm or in harm's way. And thus, it led me to basically, I guess you could say, not caring maybe as much as I should have, in the eyes of Obito, who then scolded the hell out of me. He told me that it's true that anyone who doesn't follow the ninja rules were scum. You see, at the time, I was infatuated with the ninja rules, and I didn't want to do anything to disobey them. But then he told me that anyone who would abandon their comrades was worse than scum. And that's when it hit me. And so, anyways, one thing led to another, and things took a turn for the worse. Although I got back Rin, Obito's body was left half crushed under a boulder. Funny enough, it wouldn't be the end of Obito saving me. Wait, he saved you and that's why he ended up under the boulder? Precisely. He pushed me and Rin out of the way so that, only he would be hit. It's unfortunate. He deserves to be here just as much as I do. So does Rin. Anyways, he happened to give me a gift. You see, I had become a Jonin, and Minato and, Rin had both given me gifts. Minato a kunai and Rin a personalized medkit. He never gave me a gift. You could say it was because he was cocky, but I don't know. I just don't think he knew what kind of gift to give me. The point is, I mentioned how half of his body was under the rock. and his Sharingan was active. And in that moment, he gave me the gift. Don't tell me. And that's why. Precisely. His gift to me was the Sharingan. I later had to go and master it, but it was a Sharingan. And, well, that's why I keep it covered, so that it doesn't drain all my chakra and kill me. You see, people who are not born as Uchiha cannot just wield the Sharingan. It not only takes an incredible toll on chakra, but if you don't have it bandaged up or covered, it will just keep draining and draining and draining your chakra without even using any of its abilities. Since you can't deactivate it at all. Now, with that being said, not very long after, I was forced to kill Rin. We were surrounded by Miss Shinobi, actually. And they were going to... Well, they were going to take Rin and use her to attack the Hidden Leaf Village. You see, Rin had the three tails Asobu within her, which meant that she was a Jinchuriki. Unlike the Senju or Uzumaki, she didn't possess the strong physical body to be able to deal with a tailed beast within her, which meant that her body was slowly, well, losing in a relentless battle against her own tailed beast. And so, she would eventually begin to break. And she knew when that was close to happening. And she basically sacrificed herself instead of allowing herself to rampage. She told me to use my Chidori to stab right through her. And, well, I did it. Your Chidori? Yes, my Chidori. It is an ability that can cut through lightning itself. It is an ability that I used in the Third Great Ninja War, especially, and many other wars. Now, with that being said, it was a dangerous technique without my Sharingan. Anyway, that's besides the point. Ad nauseum, even, if you will. The point is, I killed her. Per her request. And I don't know how it happened, but I passed out and eventually ended up surrounded by dead ninja. And I returned to the Hidden Leaf Village. As for Minato, his death would come years after the war effort, where he was crowned a hero, taking out an entire platoon by himself in just seconds. Anyway, he was named Hokage. Not very long afterwards, less than a year if I'm exact on that. He gave his life sealing the Nine Tails in a young boy who happens to be his son. Have you reached out to the boy? No. I believe that it would be disrespectful to seek him out. I don't know. You should. Maybe he's growing up alone. Maybe he has nobody. And you could be there for him. Truly. You make a good point. Anyways, why exactly are you, am I here? You're gonna train me in how to use a short sword, because I have no idea how. Quite demanding. Why exactly should I? I mean, if you don't know how to, there's no reason I should be teaching you. It's simple. Because I want to know how to protect myself with a blade. Fine. If you can physically hurt me with just one punch, and that's all, then I'll allow you to learn from me on how to use a short sword. And so, Sakura would be given her one punch, and she would power it with chakra control, actually knocking out Kakashi. But that's what she thought. She only knocked the wind out of him, but it did hurt like hell, and Kakashi would even reward her for doing so, training her. They would train for the rest of the year until Kakashi had to actually take up his own Genin squad, and they were missing a candidate. And so he would actually choose Sakura, as he would be given the permission to do so by Hiruzen, who would totally veto it. Sorry, not veto it, but rather the opposite, allow it. Now, with that being said, this now marks the beginning of Team 7. I know that this video may seem like a lot of Sakura backstory still, but we are definitely going to touch on Naruto and Sasuke, because a what if devoid of them would be not the best, but not the worst either. Now, with that being said, when we will touch on them is going to be in the next part or the part after that. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I'm recording in a completely different space right now, so there's a ton of external noises. Yeah, there was nothing I could do about it, but I did have to get this video up for you guys at almost all cost. With that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. That would be deeply appreciated. Share the video to a friend who likes this, or just name the content in general. And with that being said, we can now end the video. This has been 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙃𝙃, and well, 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃. This is now the movie segment of What If Sakura Was an Uzumaki. Flash cut to the Land of Waves, because Team 7 would be successful in this timeline within the Bell Test, and, well, the events of the canon wouldn't vary much in this timeline, besides the fact that it was actually very noticeable to Sasuke and Sakura that, well, Naruto was special in some weird way. But on that same token, it was also very, very clear to Naruto and Sasuke themselves that Sakura was an entirely different animal than they were. You could even say in a different league. With that being said, they would eventually go to the Land of Waves. Problem for Team 7 is that somebody just latched on to intel that they were going there. And let's just say not the kind of person you'd want to have that intel. Orochimaru, one of the 3 legendary Sannin. You see, Orochimaru had realized this through, well, his connections in the underworld and with Gato, and would send a unit, including himself, as well as the Sound 5, complete with a, at this point, not dead, but not healthy, 𝘾𝙗𝙗. With that, who is easily, without a doubt, low Kage level. With that being said, he would also work together with Zabuza and Haku to make sure that he could get the Sharingan of Kakashi and retrieve Sasuke Uchiha. With that being said, his attack could not yet be launched, as they were not yet at the Land of Waves. It would be then that they got there earlier than Orochimaru anticipated, which meant that Team 7 would still fight Zabuza and Haku in their original clash. I see nothing really changing here besides the fact that Sakura would be the one to free Kakashi from the water prison, as, well, yeah. But with that being said, nothing else would change from there, with Zabuza and Haku retreating and, well, Team 7 retreating as well. It would then be here that some time would pass, and they would meet yet again, but something was different. Zabuza and Haku were fighting with more poise and much more confidence. They weren't as taken aback as they were previously when they were first confronted by the group of Genin, and, well, of course, their Jonin sensei Kakashi Hatake. It would be then that as their battles went on, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, all 3 of them, were captured inside of the ice mirrors, that all hell would break loose and the Sound 5 would appear. And this is where I see the story ending. There is no way that the Sound 5 with 𝘾𝙗𝙗 can't defeat Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi. Add on to that, if you believe that Naruto's 9 Tails chakra in stage 1, 2, or even 3, let's say even 4, for the sake of this what if, is strong enough to defeat the Sound 5 with the assistance of Sakura and Sasuke, add Orochimaru onto that. That is another easily mid to high Kage level ninja who actually was able to survive the 3rd Hokage, and heck, even beat him in his own right. With that being said, you then add on the fact that Kakashi can't help because Kakashi is now dealing with Zabuza, but ×2 because Zabuza and Haku, who Zabuza even stated that Haku is just as strong, if not stronger than him. So Kakashi can't do anything, and he's actually most likely just going to die before he even gets the chance. which leaves us to believe that, well, they don't win this fight. As for Sasuke, one of the Sound Five would accidentally kill him, but an accident turned out to be a purposeful attack, as, well, the Sound Five member, known as Jirobo, was actually quite jealous of Sasuke and how much Orochimaru had grown to praise him. And even through his brainwashed, well, self under Orochimaru and his full commitment to Orochimaru, he couldn't let himself be outshined by someone so inferior to him. With that being said, overall, the Sound Ninja's barrage on Team 7 was successful, but everybody was dead. Orochimaru now had Sasuke and Kakashi's Sharingan, which is 3 Sharingan, but he didn't need just 3 Sharingan. He needed a vessel. He needed Sasuke's body, and a actually developed one, not a child Sasuke, a more grown-up Sasuke. One that could be bred to grow up with steroids in him so that he would grow faster. One that could be amped up and strengthened, not a pitiful body to, well, take as a vessel. So Orochimaru was pretty angry, but he was at least content that he had managed to obtain 3 Sharingan, and maybe he could use the fact that it was Sasuke's Sharingan to entice Itachi to, well, be set to come into a trap, as Itachi would surely want vengeance. Now, this is where I have to end the what if. Now, why I'm ending the what if in this way, as obviously, this is not where the story could have ended. It could have gone all the way into Shippuden, and even past the war arc. Well, it's genuinely because of the hate. When I create what ifs, it's because I like them. It's because an idea intrigues me, or I'd like to see my own perspective on that what if. One of those many what ifs was what if Sakura was in Uzumaki. I like the backstory of, well, her parents being Uzumakis, but choosing the name Haruno for her. I like her going to Kakashi. I just like the backstory of this what if. I like the what if. I like this Sakura. But the problem is that so many Naruto fans see Sakura as useless, and I've never seen her that way. I genuinely think that she's one of the top 3 strongest shinobi currently in Boruto. But, like, man, there's nothing I can do about that. And when those videos get so much hate, like Sakura Uzumaki Part 1 and 2, and people are just like, uselessness, wow, I can't believe you did this. This is a stupid what-if idea. You get the point. What-ifs around, or Sakura are stupid. Just comments that are based like that. I'll put it this way. There is never not going to be bad or good comments. But, like, for every one good comment, that's like, W, Rami, this is a good video. I love those guys. Those are my guys. There's like 10 that are like, uselessness, Sakura, oh my god, I can't believe you actually did this. And this what if, is this a joke? Like, and like, that really just sucks the energy out of me to do a what if like this. So, I hope that those who did actually enjoy the series got an ending that was at least just like 2% satisfying, because obviously I couldn't end it in the way that I wanted to. And, yeah, I mean, I know that you guys shouldn't suffer for the fact that, well, other people didn't like the what if, but it kind of just happens to happen, and there was just about nothing I could do about that. Thank you for everything, and thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I hope you hit that like and subscribe button, share the video to a friend like this, or anime content in general. With that being said, this has been Rami X, and, well, Rami X out.